Cunda Butcher Story, Retribution of a Mass Murderer. This Dharma is taught by the Master, when he resided at the Truck Lam Monastery, aimed at Cunda the butcher who slaughters pigs. The story that for 55 years, Cunda makes a living by slaughtering pigs, to eat or sell. When he was hungry, he went to the countryside, with a cart full of rice brains and returning full of piglets, bought in the villages for only half a liter or a little rice each. Behind the house, he had a piece of land that was turned into a pig pen. He raises pigs with all kinds of plants or manure. When he wants to kill a pig, he ties it securely against a pillar and pound it with a square mallet, to make its flesh swell and soften. Then he opened the pig's jaw and put a small wedge in its mouth. He poured hot water from a copper pot down its throat. No one in the 7 surrounding houses could sleep. His relatives were terrified of death. There was no other way can stop him from leaving. They blocked the doors and locked him in the house. Then they surrounded the house, and stood watch as he crawled back and forth in the house for 7 days, suffered the extreme suffering of hell, groaning and squealing like a pig. After 7 days of crawling like that, he died and fell into the great hell. A few bhikkhus passing by his door heard a noisy squealing sound and thought it was just the sound of pigs. They went back to the monastery and sat on one side of the Master and the white world-honored one. For 7 days the door of Butcher Cunda's house was closed, and for 7 days he continued to kill pigs. Surely he intended to entertain. The world-honored one thought about how many pigs were slaughtered. "We have never seen anyone so cruel and barbaric before," the Guru said. "Hey bhikkhus, he did not kill pigs in the past 7 days. The punishment in accordance with his past deeds happened to him suddenly, while he was still alive. The torment of the great hell of Avicii has appeared. Because of this torture, he crawled back and forth in the house for 7 days, squealing like a pig. Today he died and was thrown into Avicii prison." When the Buddha finished speaking, the monks responded, "The Buddha suffered here in this world. He went to the place of suffering again and was reborn there." "That's right, monks." The world-honored one continued, "Anyone who lives carelessly, whether a layperson or a monk, are suffering in both places, now sad and sad in the next life. Evil people are sad for 2 lives, they are sad and sad. See the dirty karma I've done." Hot water penetrates into the pig's stomach, loosening the feces, and expelling them out of the anus. Hot feces mixed with water. If there is a small piece of feces left in the pig's stomach, the water that comes out will become discolored and cloudy. But when the pig's stomach is clean, the water that flows out will be clear and clean. The remaining water he poured on the pig's back, and the water would peel off the black skin. Then he blunted the bristles with a torch, and finally he cut off the pig's head with a small sword. When the blood spurted out, he caught it in a dish. Then he roasted the pig, smeared the collected blood on his skin, and sat at the table. "Eat roast pork with your wife and children." The remaining meat he sold. In this way he lived for 55 years, even though the Master lives in the neighboring Tin Exe. But there was not a single day when Cunda offered his bed, even if it's a handful of flowers or a spoonful of rice. It doesn't do any meritorious work. One day he got sick, and even though he was still alive, the fire of the great hell of Avicii has terrible burning power, always spit continuously in all directions. 100 miles away burned in front of him. When the torment of the great hell of Avicii descended on the Cunda pig butcher, his actions changed in accordance with his past karma. Even though he was still in the house, he began to make noise like a pig. And crawled on my hands and knees, crawled to the front of the house and crawled to the back. Family members overpowered and silenced him, but even though they did everything he could, he still crawled back and groaned continuously like a pig.